You know, my upbringing was one where my mom was an incredible role model and feminist. So my background has always been to understand that women's role should be every bit equal and equitable to men's.
Being in an environment that is not as open-minded or supportive of having female doctors is very frustrating. It's hard to be in a room where you have to advocate for yourself and there's no one else there to advocate for you.
You know, I've had days in the emergency room where I've come in to reduce a hip and then they'll say, well, we can't start, there's no orthopedic surgeon here. And you're like, no, I'm right here.
I actually did 5 away rotations. I was feeling very lost. At the end, I had no idea where I would end up being a resident. And after I received an interview invitation from Columbia, I got a personal email from Dr. Levine that basically said, who are you and why didn't you rotate with us, because you're a perfect fit for Columbia.
I loved my interview day at Columbia. I got the sense that this community was diverse in its interests and also really well interconnected at the same time.
If you come here, if you rotate here, if you become a resident here, no matter who you are, if you interact with us, you're part of our family. And I think that was a really strong message.
One of the reasons why I chose Columbia as a place for my training was that not only Dr. Levine kind of advocates for diversity and equity and inclusion, but he shows it in terms of the residency composition. So we're almost 50-50 female to male.
And so that, I think, talks to the point of being purposeful with diversity. In other words, it won't happen organically if you don't make efforts to make it happen. If you don't interview women, you're not going to have women. If you don't interview underrepresented in medicine applicants, you're not going to have them in your program.
That is one thing about Columbia and Dr. Levine is that they're so supportive. He's always there. I have a question about orthopedics, if I have a question about my future, I can always knock on his door.
We have so many female residents and attendings, and we have such sort of a supportive group that I think I've been allowed to just be a person in orthopedics as opposed to a woman in orthopedics.
I think Ruth Jackson Orthopedic Society is just a critically important organization. And as time has gone on, as we now look at the 40th anniversary, I think it represents what the potential is for orthopedic surgeons and having women as equal members of this group. It will be very nice when we get to the point where we can write letters of recommendation and we don't have to say something like, this is an incredibly strong female applicant. Let's take the word female out of that and just say this is an incredibly strong applicant and you would love to have her in your program. That's really where we need to go, and I think we're on that road.
You can make a difference by supporting women in orthopedics. Donate to RJOS.